She's already signaled that she's going to take a more centrist position than the current president, Lee Myung-bak, and that will involve increasing welfare expenditure by the government. So I would expect to see some stimulus measures announced quite soon after she takes office. So I think that's going to be important. Another of her platforms was that she would increase some of the development expenditure in some of the least developed provinces of South Korea. So those will be some of the domestic spending initiatives the government will undertake early in her term of office.
It's often overlooked, Rajiv, but you followed this. This is one of the great stories of the 20th century, the buildup of South Korea, but it's almost in this middle income or upper middle income trap right now with per capita income well above $20,000. It's not easy to export your way out of trouble. They need to create that middle class that's very strong and willing to spend.
Certainly, South Korea has been a miracle economy coming out of the ashes of the Korean War. But it's now facing the problems that Japan faced of hollowing out of the economy as rising labor costs make their manufacturing sector less competitive compared to some of the other emerging markets in the region and globally. So I think Korea really needs to embark on a very big rebalancing of their economy towards new growth industries. And they have been laggards in being able to achieve that. So that's a very important priority for the incoming president to address how can they develop new growth industries, particularly in the services sector.
Prime Minister Abe of Japan coming in for a second time seems extremely determined here to stimulate the economy. The Bank of Japan responding to the pressure here, nearly $120 billion, but he thinks there's more room to do so. What is the trap there for Japan if they overdo this, trying to get out of this deflationary cycle they've been in for a better part of a decade?
Well, they're in their second lost decade. They've amounted a huge amount of debt, sovereign debt, and basically they're heading towards a fiscal crisis unless they can start reducing their fiscal deficits over the medium term. But at the moment, what the incoming government is planning to do is have a big boost of additional expenditure next year, and that's likely to, increase the fiscal problems. They're likely to delay the implementation of the doubling of the sales tax, which was meant to address the fiscal deficit. So really, the sovereign debt problems of Japan continue to mount, even though it may pull them out of recession next year. So near term, it helps, but in the long term, they're heading towards a debt crisis.
To round out Asia, here's Xi Jinping coming in as the leader of China, and he seems to be very determined to root out corruption, at least he says so, and to further reforms going forward. Are you confident that China can sustain 7.5%, if not higher, growth going forward under him?
I think China can comfortably achieve 7 to 8% growth as an average rate over the next decade. And China is an economy that does have room for some further fiscal stimulus. So I believe that the incoming leadership will actually provide a bit more stimulus into the economy after they take office, and that will help to boost the recovery that we're already starting to see.